Happy Friday and welcome back to Drinking by Myself. My name is Emma and today I'm going to be playing Balancing the Books, the game where I add everything that comes onto my TBR with everything that goes off my TBR and try and make them equal. And I'm reinstating the rules, you guys. I had a bit of a overwhelmed moment last year and took away all of the rules of how many books I had to have, but I'm reinstating the original Balancing the Books rules. It just has to be balanced. It makes sense. It's in the name. So if more books come onto my TBR one month than the ones I managed to read, I have to unhaul enough books to make those numbers equal. Okay, probably going to regret that and take the rules away again, but we'll see. You're not my mum. Unless you are actually my mum because she does watch these, so if you are, then hi. You are the one exception to that statement. A few things about this video, just to make it, show how disorganised I am. Firstly, I don't have most of the books I'm going to talk about because I left them on my desk at work, so sorry. Also, I can't tell you half of the books that I hauled because I'm working on a few secret video projects for this channel, so you guys will see them in the end, but I don't want to give spoilers for what I'm doing, so I'm just going to kind of tell you the numbers that I hauled. I can't tell you all of the actual books. I mean, it's not like it's a massive secret. They're on my Goodreads. You could find out if you cared, but I feel like out of context, you won't know what I'm doing. Whereas if I have to talk about the books and where I got them, it'll be a bit of a giveaway, won't it? Okay, but there's quite a few I can tell you about, so let's start with those. So I ended up last month with 46 books on my TBR. Let's whack that number on screen. Which means that my number at the end of this month cannot be any higher than 46. Simple enough? Let's see. The first book that I hauled this month is Blood and Sugar by Laura Shepherd Robinson. This is one that I took home from work. I did a video about it on book break. So yes, spoiler, I did read this one. So that one came on and then off my TBR, we're still even. So I won't talk too much about it because I did a whole video about it on book break. I will link to that below. It was a fun video, I thought, if I say so myself. Like, went around London talking about all the dark history of London, really fun stuff, like murders and stuff. Obviously a very unfun, grisly part of London's history is its involvement in the slave trade. And Blood and Sugar is a historical fiction that is all about the slave trade. So you can go watch the video. From NetGalley, I got The Evidence Against You by Gillian McAllister. So this is her fourth book. Gillian McAllister is like my favourite crime writer. She's so good. I've read her first three. I've basically read all of them like the moment they came out. I think I've had arcs of all of them. And they all have titles like that where it's like, we had Everything But the Truth, Anything You Do Say, No Further Questions. It's all, it makes you feel like you're in a court case. It's very exciting. So I got that one and I'll be reading that very soon. Ooh, I got The Grown Up, just for fun, by Gillian Flynn. I loved Gone Girl. I know people have like mixed feelings about it. I completely loved it. I think partly because it's probably like the first psychological thriller that I read, really. I didn't really know of that as a genre before I read it. And I also was very, very lucky in the circumstances of how I read it. So I saw it reviewed in a magazine when I was in the States. It was just like a tiny little thing, recommendation. So I was like, oh, I'll get it on my Kindle for the plane. And I didn't really read anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how dark it was going to get. Like, it said it was a thriller. Obviously, it's about a missing woman. But I had no idea that books even could get that dark and have that good of a twist. So when the twist happened, and I was just like on a plane, like I had no internet, I had no context for this. I just stayed up all flight reading it and being like, what? I'm feeling so scared. And then I landed, and then turns out that a lot of people had quite mixed feelings about it, and I think it was obviously a very, very hyped book, and hyped books are hard to live up to. So I was just lucky that I read it, in the perfect situation to not have it overhyped and also to not really have been familiar with the genre before. Why do I tell such long, irrelevant stories? So I loved that one. I liked her other ones. I liked Sharp Objects more than I liked Dark Places. And I've been meaning to read The Grown Up for a really long time. It's a short story. So I thought, why not now? Get that one now. Haven't read it yet, but it's there. A book that I don't have with me because it's one of the ones on my desk at work is The Temp by Michelle Francis. She's the author who wrote The Girlfriend. So this is a thriller and I have read it, so it goes back off my TBR. It's a thriller. It's kind of like The Replacement, that TV show, in that it's about a woman who's a TV producer and she goes on maternity leave and another younger girl comes to take her place to be her maternity cover and she feels threatened. But it's not about pitting these women against each other, which I really appreciated, because I was kind of wary with that premise that that's what it would be like. But it just wasn't. Like, it made very clearly they had a shared enemy, and they were both, complicated but real women. They weren't just reduced to any kind of like bitter or evil stereotypes. I thought that was really great. It was a really good spin on that topic. Thrillers so often, I love thrillers, they're my favourite genre, but they so often can fall into, you know, spiteful, crazy woman stereotype, or just like women as victims, whereas this didn't. It resisted that and still managed to be really tense and twisty, and that was really fun. It's very much like a fun page-turner holiday read, but it's perfect for that. Oh, I bought myself this. I bought myself Murder on the Orient Express. I'm actually going to take this plastic wrap off. Right now, you're going to watch me do it. I read my first Agatha Christie last month, and it was, what's it called? And Then There Were None. And I loved it so much. It was so good, so much fun. So I was like, I'm going to keep reading. Don't put a sticker on my books. I hate when they put stickers on my books. Oh my god, I ripped it. Oh my god, I'm not even kidding, I ripped it. Okay, it's fine. We're just going to smooth that back over. That's so stupid that the sticker has to be there. I hate life. So I bought this. This is Murder on the Orient Express, which I haven't read, but obviously it's another of her super famous ones. And I love these covers. These are like the recreations of the original paperback covers, which I just think are so cool. They're so pretty. But they put a stupid sticker on it, and just now when I tried to take it off, I started ripping the paper underneath. Like, I'm so mad they put that there, because I was like really excited for this cover, and they've ruined my whole life. I'm really excited to read this because I love Agatha Christie. I'm grumpy now. Two more that are on my desk at work. It Should Have Been Me by Susan Wilkins. That one came onto my TBR and I read it. It's a crime novel. Basically all of the thrillers. I read a lot of thrillers this month and you will hear all about them on Book Break. I read them all for a psychological thriller recommendations video. So that will be up soon. So you can get all of the like full descriptions there. But that was just like a really fun kind of police crime drama. Not the genre that I usually read of thrillers. So, you know, it's my favourite, but I really enjoyed it. It was like very action packed, which was fun. And the other one was A Nearly Normal Family. That's going to be like our big thriller of the year. I say our, Power Villain. It's about a family and the teenage daughter is arrested and accused of murder. And it's told in this like 3-part structure. The father and then the daughter and then the mother, each revealing like different sides of the story and different information about the family and their relationships to each other and what they would do for each other. So that was fun. Probably be hearing a lot more about that one coming up. We're thinking it's going to be a big one. So that one I also obviously read. Okay, now I can't tell you what these are, but I also got 6 books for a secret mysterious reason, which you will find out in June. That's all I can really tell you, but just add 6 to the score. Oh wait, one more I forgot to mention. I also got The Age of Light, this novel one I brought home from work. This is a historical fiction about Lee Miller, the photographer slash muse, and her life with Man Ray, and I'm currently reading it. I'm like just this much into it so far, so that still technically counts as being on my TBR. Okay, so then there are a few books that I DNF'd. I DNF'd a book called The Last by Hannah Jameson. Not because I didn't think it was good, to be honest. I've just had a really, really busy reading month, and I realised that I didn't care enough about finishing The Last. Probably just because I was stressed, not because The Last wasn't good, but I just was like, that's fine. I've read enough of The Last. I was like not super gripped. I was a little bit bored by it. It was a book about the end of the world, basically. Like nuclear warfare happens and the whole world seems to have died except for these people trapped at a hotel, but they find dead bodies, so they know that somebody in the hotel is a murderer and they have to figure out who. Sounds really, really exciting, but I was just like not that gripped. And then I also have put down for now Toil and Trouble. That's the anthology of witchy short stories. I've been buddy reading that one with Emma Tobias very slowly over a few months. I'm talking to her soon actually, so I'll talk about it if you want to keep reading with it, but we haven't read any more for a while, so for now I put that one down just really so I can get the number off my TBR. Cool, 2 down. And then there are the books that I read other than the ones I already told you that I read. So I read one of the secret 6 books. I cannot tell you about it, but I promise you will find out eventually, so that's 1 down. I read Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. That's another one that you'll see in the Psychological Thrillers Roundup. It was really fun. It's a YA thriller and it's about this prison called Alcatraz 2.0 that's like live streamed. It's a reality show where the inmates are murdered by these executioners who have like sassy nicknames like the Gucci Hangman and Gassy Al and they all have their like stereotypes of how they kill people really brutally, and people just like watch and give thumbs up, like spikes they're called. And it's just like super creepy and morbid and also probably realistic of where the world's going because we all suck. So that's the premise and it's really fun. It's about this girl who ends up in the prison but she's innocent of the crime, so she has to team up with the friends that she makes there and figure out who actually killed her stepsister because it wasn't her. and it's just really silly and really fun, and I enjoyed it. I read The Neighbour by Fiona Cummins. Once again, you will see that in the psychological thriller roundup, and I also talked about it in my Let Me Entertain You video, so I will link to that. So I won't bother rehashing it, but it's a thriller that's like genuinely scary and was my favourite of all of the thrillers that I read for that video. So that's like my number one thriller recommendation that I've read recently. I've read a lot of thrillers. In general, I always read a lot of thrillers, and I found that now, because I've read so many, it's quite hard for them to be really memorable to me, because I've just like seen a lot of these storylines done before, whereas that one like stood out to me as one that I really, really enjoyed. I read The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker, and again, that was one of my favourites of the month, so you'll find it in my Let Me Entertain You video. Basically, books that I really loved, I will talk about in more depth in other videos. These Balancing the Book ones are just going to be mainly for the numbers, for the stats. So that's a kind of fun, like, dystopia, but like not. It's very literary, it's very like dreamy, and I'll talk about it properly in the other video. And then I read another secret book. So scratch another one off the list. You will find out about that once again in June. Whew, I've been trying to add as I go. I think I'm now on 49 books, and I started on 46, so that is the wrong direction to be going in. But here's the thing, I'm filming this video quite early, it's not the end of the month yet. I will definitely have finished The Age of Light by the end of the month, because I have to, for work. So that will be 48. So I've got to get rid of 2 books off my TBR. Oh boy, I haven't missed this bit. This is difficult. I forgot how difficult this is. So the first book I'm going to donate is Children of Blood and Bone. I've been keeping this for a while because I so love that it exists. I think that Tomi Adeyemi is amazing. I met her and she was wonderful. Everything I've read about this book is just brilliant, and I'm so glad that books like this exist. But I don't like fantasy. I've never enjoyed fantasy. So just because I like really support having fantasy that, you know, centres around, I think it's an all-black cast that has made so many people feel seen and represented. I think that's so positive and wonderful. So I'm really proud to, you know, even work for the company that published this book. I think it's wonderful, and I'm really excited to see where it goes and see how the movie does. But I don't read fantasy, so I'm just kind of holding on to for the sake of being happy it exists. I'm not actually going to read it, whereas I could donate it to someone else who will read it and benefit from it a lot more. And then this one, we actually talked about this a few months ago in Balancing the Books, and you guys said that it was fine for me to do what I'm about to do, but I never did, so now I'm going to do it. This is The Lie of the Land by Amanda Craig. My mum and my sister both read it and just thought it was like a bit meh, so kind of I've just had it on my TBR and I'm like, I'm not really inclined to pick it up. But I went to the Isle of Wight Festival in 2017, and I met the author because she did a talk about Jane Austen, and she signed it for me with my name. It's not even like it's just signed and I could give it to someone else who wants a signed book. Like, she signed it with my name and like where we met and stuff. So I don't want to get rid of it, you know? And that's silly if I'm not really inclined to read the book, but I just feel like it's nice to keep hold of things like that, because I'll still really enjoy the memory of the talk that she went to, even if I don't, like, desperately want to read the book. So what I would like to do is keep this book, but take it off my TBR and just put it somewhere else in a collection of just, like, memories and things that are important to me for different reasons, rather than on my TBR bookshelf. Is that silly and superficial? I don't know. What would Marie Kondo say? I don't know. That brings me down to 46, so now my books are all officially balanced for the month. Woohoo! So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave me a comment below if you are doing anything similar. I always like seeing other people's takes on this game, or just, you know, just say hi. Tell me how your day was. I like to hear it. And of course, subscribe to this channel because I post new videos every Friday, usually with a glass of wine, which I've now finished. Alright, see you next time. Bye!